My twin is only us. We trap, go platinum up for budget. Well, Lil Demon in the cup. Parading at the church. You moving wrong, we clutch. You slime, we sharing. Real rap, I'm trapping, babe. Real ice.
Hello and welcome back to the National Basketball Performance Centre, home of Manchester Basketball, who have just 2 home league games left this season, starting with today's face-off against Leicester Riders. The last time these two teams faced each other, Leicester won 73-70, we'll be hoping to stay on the winning side again today. Manchester Basketball will also be wanting a win after they lost away last week. So it should be an exciting game, and to talk through it a bit more, I'm joined by commentator Caroline Bullock. Kaz, firstly, we've got to talk about Hannah Shaw, because the last home game, she got a personal record of 1,000 league points. How deserving is she of that?
Oh, so deserving, and to do it at home in Manchester and then against her old team, the Nottingham Wildcats, it's just a really special thing for a player that's just been really foundational for British basketball in this country and for what she's achieved throughout her career. You know, a player that's represented England at the Commonwealth Games, has a silver medal from the 2018 Games. She's played through the WBBL and the SLB, and a player that's really giving back to the younger generation as well through coaching at MMU, team manager for the under-16 squad that's going to be out playing this summer. So it's great to see that, and I think it's really important to celebrate the milestones and the achievements of players that have been, you know, playing for so long in the league throughout their career, and to do such a great thing like that.
And moving on to last week, like I mentioned, Manchester lost away to Caledonia Gladiators. What do they need to improve on from that game? I
think defensively, I don't think they came out with the intensity defensively that we've seen them do the last few games, especially at home. Caledonia are a tough team, and they're a very different team to the team that we saw Manchester beat on their home floor here back earlier in the start of the season. But yeah, defensively, I think they need to use that to set the tone, because their offense has come when they've played that strong defence.
And today's opponents, Leicester Riders, they've won 2 games on the bounce now. What has been going well for them?
Yeah, I think adding in Kaya Harrison this season, is her first season coming out of Wake Forest. She's leading the team in scoring, and she's a real leader out there on the floor. Does a bit of everything works on both ends of the floor, so having her out on court with this team is really valuable. Katie Januszewska returning for them is huge. She's a really exciting young player. She's represented GB at the Eurobasket qualifiers just a few weeks ago, was out in Rwanda for the pre-qualifiers for the World Cup. And you know, she's a real energy player as well. She's a lights out shooter from 3, so those two sort of leading the way for the team has really helped them this season.
And talking of standout players, for Manchester Basketball to be the day in the last home game, just 1 steal away from another quadruple-double, and the fact that we're even saying it like that, she still got a triple-double. Just how good is she?
She's so good. Like, triple-doubles are old news for her, aren't they, when she's flirting with quadruple-doubles. She's such an exciting player, and wherever she goes, she shows it. Defensively, we've seen her, you know, the steals, the way she uses her long wingspan just to grab the ball out of the air, read the passing lanes, but such a great facilitator as well, and a player with a really high basketball IQ. She does what the team needs her to do out there on the floor, and plays her role. And she's signed back in NBL 1 in Australia for this summer, so wherever she goes, she's a Showtime player.
And tip-off is just around the corner, but before I hand over to you on commentary, we've got a little video about what some of the players were getting up to in the week. On Tuesday, Manchester Basketball teamed up with the MANC to support a charity basketball battle at Courts Club. This is how it went.
People, we are live in the middle of Manchester, in the middle of Deansgate. We're outside with Manchester Basketball. We've got an amazing charity event going on. We've linked up with Sips, Hennessy, the Manc, Hoopin' and Luton, and loads of different people to do an amazing charity event. We're going to raise some money today. We've got bare ballers here, we've got some young ballers, some older ballers, and we've got a bunch of professional players. You can see them in the back in the gear. But look, I'm going to take you along with me to see everything that's going on. Let's go.
Nah, he's good. Oh yeah, fake the injury there! Looking good. I think we're looking good coming around this round robin. We'll probably come out on top. I don't see many teams beating or competing with us.
I'm feeling really good. There's a lot of people out here. The games are fun. Everybody's getting active, doing what they're supposed to do. It's a good time.
Thank you for locking in to this amazing event. Big shout out to everyone who was involved, sponsors, Manchester Basketball, who provided the players, not the professional players, who have come to help everyone who's been part of this event. But look, we're going to see you on the next video.
Kaz Bullock here with Manchester's very own Hannah Alty as we get ready to tip off in around 4.5 minutes time. Hannah, we're getting towards the business end of the season now.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm really excited to kind of see now where people are going to be placing. You know, we're looking at the way teams are going to finish in the league, and we're heading towards the playoffs, Kaz. This is important now. You know, we're finishing the season off, and I think, you know, teams have got to really start knuckling down now and thinking about playoffs.
All to play for, isn't it? So Manchester currently sitting in 4th place, 10 wins, 6 losses. They are tied on points with Newcastle at 20 points, but Newcastle, they have been surging, having won 4 of their last 5. So a tough stretch towards the end of the season for Manchester, and this is a Leicester team that they're going to face sitting in 7th place, 7 wins and 8 losses. But as we've spoken about all season long, you can't take any team for granted in this league.
Absolutely not. I mean, you know, Manchester did lose. You know, they lost to Newcastle. They lost last week to Caledonia, and I think, you know, Leicester, they had their win last week against the London Lions. So, you know, realistically, Leicester are coming off like a win, so they've got that momentum behind them. So I think, yeah, you're right. You can't take it for granted coming on this stage.
And a 2-game winning streak for Leicester. You mentioned there that win against the London Lions this weekend. It was Katie Janaszewska with a big 18 points and 5 rebounds, along with 3 assists. Elise Tweedy adding in 7 points, 13 rebounds and 3 assists. And Elise Tweedy, she's returning for the Riders, along with Katie Janaszewska. They've really been leading this team, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. I mean, you know, Ellis Tweedy last week with big 13 rebounds. You know, she's not afraid to crash the boards. She's a really, really strong interior player. And I think for her today, you know, Manchester's going to have to be physical, really get a body on her.
And someone that Verity and I highlighted in the pre-game as well, Kaya Harrison in her first season with the Riders, 5 years at Wake Forest. She's a real energy player. She likes to play fast, likes to play on both ends of the court, and she's going to be key as well, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. If she's going to push the ball in transition, that's, you know, you can't sleep on. If a player, you know, like Kaya is able to really push the ball up the court, it's going to make it difficult to defend in transition. So I think that's, again, something that Manchester are really going to have to take into account today.
And Manchester, you mentioned it, coming off that loss against Caledonia, a 95-75 loss. Manchester's defence wasn't as intense coming out of the gate as we've seen it before. Is that something that coach Rhiann Bailey is going to look to try and correct today?
Oh, definitely. You know, you can't kind of go into a game and not set the tone straight away. You have to be controlled and really make sure that you're setting the pace for the defence. And it, you know, as I like to say, I think defence can fuel your offence. You know, you've got players like Davida Dale and Danny Williams who are, you know, they're fast-paced, they can push the ball in transition. And if you've got Davida Dale getting steals, you know, getting her hands in the passing lane and playing with intensity, those steals lead to easy fast break points.
And we know Davida Dale likes a steal or two, doesn't she?
She does. She absolutely does.
Davida Dale is second in the league in steals per game with 3.6. So starting for Manchester Basketball, it will be Davida Dale, Danny Williams, Annie Warren, Hannah Shaw, Lauren Thomas-Johnson, and for the Leicester Riders, Katie Janaszewska, Kaya Harrison, Jessica Eadsworth-Yates, Elise Tweedy and Brooke Biggett. And Leicester with a relatively short roster today, Hannah, just 7 players available, and they do, as a programme, they have players playing across the leagues, playing across Division 1, so sometimes that can lead to some of it unavailability.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult, especially, you know, that this weekend, I think the Loughborough Riders in Division 1, they've got a very busy weekend as well in the National Basketball League, so I think, you know, some players for Leicester have had to go and play in that game, and I think, you know, it is difficult because, again, it's an important weekend, you know, for both National League and SLBW, so it's a game of kind of weighing up situations, you know, and I think that's probably what the coaches have been thinking about this in the past week, is kind of where you're prioritising players and where you think players are best fit. And I think, you know, you've got to be smart, and it does take a, you know, it it does take a toll on kind of the team dynamic, but I think it's something that, you know, if you've got a very well-rounded club like Leicester Riders, it is something unfortunate that you do have to come up against.
And sometimes can it be maybe a little bit of a help in the sense that Coach Ben Stanley's not going to have to not have too many players to choose from? He's going to be able to work it with a shorter roster.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I think it's great when you've got the subs and the rotations, like, you know, aren't as in depth. But however, it does come with its disadvantages of, you know, if there's foul trouble or injuries or anything like that. So it is something that you do have to be really mindful. But, you know, I do think again it's positive. It's allowing other players to step up. So we've got Charlie Woodman today from WEBL Charmwood Riders. You know, she's been brought in today to step up and have an opportunity to play on this stage. And I think that is when, you know, that's when it does become very, very, very positive.
And it's always really exciting, isn't it, when someone in perhaps the younger leagues gets the opportunity to play out on this big stage?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's always just such a kind of an experience, and it's a completely different level and it's a completely different pace. So I think, you know, and what they can then take back to, you know, to their national league teams is, you know, is a great experience, and then, you know, hopefully pass it on to their teammates as well.
Definitely. So as we get ready for tip, it will be Shaw and Tweedy for the jump ball. Manchester playing in black today and Leicester in red. So the ball's up and we're underway. First possession of the game goes to the Riders, and it's Katie Janaszewska controlling the ball for Leicester. And Dale knocks the ball away, stays with the Riders though, but that is something Leicester have to look out for. Janaszewska from three. That's good. And Katie Janaszewska, she's a three-point shooter. You can't leave her open at the top of the arc.
Yeah, she is. I mean, you know, she's 39.1%, I think, three-point shooting, so I think you can't give her space.
As Thomas Johnson answers for Manchester. Harrison. Dale with the slight mismatch here height-wise. Ball's knocked away. Danny Williams racing down the court, spins, hangs in the air, doesn't go, gets her own rebound, and will back it out. Warren round to Dale, into Shaw. Shaw working off the glass and in. And Hannah Shaw, we saw her at home a couple of weeks ago, getting those 1,000 league points in the WBBL and SLB.
Yeah, absolute madness. I mean, it's what can you expect when you see a hook shot like that?
It's great, isn't it? It's
the
perfect hook shot. Harrison. Oh, great footwork. Left-handed layup's too strong. As Dale kicks it out to the corner. Warren out to Shaw. Shaw, long two. That won't go, it's Riders' ball. Janaszewska. Round to Harrison. He's for Yates, driving to the basket. Harrison, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Harrison tries to go inside. Shaw with the rebound. And it's picked off by Biggert. Biggert. And will pass out of bounds. So Manchester will get the ball back, and quite a fast start from both teams here.
Yeah, it is. Both teams really pushing the ball in transition. I think sometimes it can be quite hard to settle into it when you come out like this, but it also allows you to set the pace. So I think Manchester now really need to kind of step up again and keep going.
Warren hands off to Williams. Dale. Thomas Johnson into Shaw. Shaw backing down Tweedy. Shaw with a reverse. And 4 quick points for Hannah Shaw this quarter. Harrison. Leads 58 in the corner. Looking to go inside. Tough pass into Tweedy. Tweedy turns, fading away. And some good defense there from Manchester.
Yeah, they've got a really good connection there with Hannah and on the screening. You know, Hannah's running back, they're hedging out. Hannah's hedging out to the guard, but then she's running back to make sure that Tweedy's guarded in the post. you know, that takes a lot of communication between your guard and your interior player.
Williams' three doesn't go. Dale has it on the baseline, runs into traffic. Shaw. Thomas Johnson into Williams. Williams turns and lays it in. Tweedy hands off to Bigger. She has space for three, lines it up and knocks it down. And a bit of a miscommunication there, Hannah, as she had a lot of space.
Yeah, she really did.
Riders have 6 points, all on the threes, as Annie Warren passes out to Dale. Thomas Johnson. Three's up, too strong. Warren with the rebound. Warren fighting to get inside, ball just going to come off Manchester. But Annie Warren this season, Hannah, I feel like she's gone under the radar a little bit because she does her job just really effectively, really efficiently.
Yeah, she really holds the team together, and I think, you know, she's such a consistent player as well. You know, she's quite quiet on the stats sheet points wise, but she's always performing for the team, and she's doing her job perfectly.
Harrison for the Riders. Round to Januszewska. Januszewska from three. Spins off, but again, Manchester seem to be leaving that three-point shot open. Dale looking to go to the basket. Takes it, hands it off to Thomas Johnson. Great decision-making there. Bigger has Tweedy running the lane. Can't finish. That was a nice cut, though.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's something that maybe, you know, Coach Rhiann has kind of considered. Whether if they're hedging on these screens and, you know, you've got Hannah going out to the guard, whether they're allowing them that kind of cut. And whether they're trying to, it's all about what they're prioritising, whether they're prioritising defending the perimeter shooter or whether they're prioritising defending the big and the inside.
You kind of pick what you want to live with and what you're willing to give up almost.
And if you've got help on in the back, that should be then covering for your inside big.
So Dale misses the first free throw. She's been averaging 10.7 points per game, 7.6 rebounds and 7.5 assists, which is first in the league, which I just think every time we watch Davida Dale play, she does something absolutely spectacular, and it's so fun.
Yeah, she really does just perform.
So Manchester can't convert on the free throws. Riders a chance to cut into this 4-point deficit. Januszewska working against Warren. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Pass into Tweedy. Out to Eats for the ace. Three will go, and 3 threes for the Riders to start the first quarter. Cuts Manchester's lead down to 1. Williams pulls up for the long two and hits. Harrison skipping through the lane. That was a really nice layup.
Really nice one-handed layup.
And that looks to be something Leicester as well are looking for, that left-handed cut that they're going to the basket with. Warren thought about the shot, looks to pass off. Shaw, 5 seconds, out to Warren. 4 seconds, and an offensive foul called on Manchester. So that gives the ball back to the Riders. And we'll have a substitution for Manchester. Maura Fitzpatrick and Nicolette Fairley check into the game for the first time. And for the Riders, Shard Aboud subs in. So the offensive foul for Manchester called on Shaw. And it will be sideline ball for the Riders. Harrison to Januszewska. Ball's loose, Tweedy fighting for it. Januszewska comes up with it. Out to Harrison. Harrison with a step back three. Nothing but net. And the Riders are making it rain from behind the three-point line.
That was a lovely shot.
They take the lead, 14-12. Warren has Fairley. Back to Warren. Tries to save it in. Januszewska comes up with it. Knocked away by Warren. Thomas Johnson's up ahead. She'll put it in for 2.
They're looking a little bit rattled, I think, Manchester on offence. I think Leicester have had some nice steals. They've got their hands in the passing lanes, getting some tips. I think they just need to settle it down a little bit and make sure they sharpen up the passes.
Yeah, Leicester have certainly done a good job pressuring the ball as Aboud drives that left lane, puts it in.
I mean, I think they've been practicing their left-handed layups and
They
practice
certainly
this
have.
week, haven't they?
Williams. Hands off to Warren. Round to Williams. Fitzpatrick inside, working against Eastforth Yates, and that's a good shot from Fitzpatrick. Ties the game at 16. Harrison. Aboud. Aboud with a crossover. Oh, nice little floater inside, bounces off the back of the rim. Williams up ahead for Manchester, in off the glass. And this is just back and forth, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Tweedy. Januszewska in the corner for 3. Katie Januszewska. That's exactly what she does, and that's what she's done.
Tough player. Tough to guard as well, I think.
And she's got that shot where she doesn't need a lot of space to get the shot off, as Williams answers. Someone else that doesn't need a lot of space to get a shot off is Danny Williams.
No.
Harrison to the basket, all the way, too strong. Picked up by Thomas Johnson, can't quite keep it inside. It's going to go with the Riders.
Baseline ball.
So Riders ball on the baseline, and Leicester having hit 5 threes already so far, 5 of 6. As Hannah Shaw checks back in. Tweedy. Januszewska with a fake, steps inside, bounces off. Williams is running the floor. Gonna take it and gets the whistle. So Danny Williams heads to the line for 2. Fouls a second on Biggott for the Riders. And Hannah, as you mentioned, with a shorter roster, that could be a little bit difficult for Leicester. 2 fouls this early on.
Yeah, it could. I mean, you've got a minute left to go in the quarter, so it's not the end of the world. But, yeah, it is something that they're going to have to keep an eye on.
So Jessica Eastforth-Yates will come into the game and Biggott will head to the bench. So Williams shooting 2. Danny Williams leads the team in points per game, 21.8. She's second in the league. Pulls down at 10.3 rebounds, which is also second in the league. Was named Malton Player of the Month back in February. She's been a really special player to watch, hasn't she, all season?
Yeah, she has. She's such a great addition to this Manchester team. You know, the composure she has when she plays, it's fascinating. You know, she just...
Harrison's doubled, and jump ball is called.
You know, that's just a perfect display there. You know, going in for that jump ball, not batting an eyelid.
She gets the job done.
She does.
And she's a shooter, which is always fun. Fairley. Set things up for Manchester. Shaw. Williams swings it inside to Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick, great hook shot and finish from Maura Fitzpatrick.
That was a great move, you know, really working her space.
And how good is it to see Maura Fitzpatrick back out on the floor for Manchester? Missed a bit of a chunk of the season through injury earlier on, but it's so good.
Yeah, it is. You know, she's such a valuable player for this team. She's so clinical in her offense, and she's just, you know, a hustler on defense as well.
Januszewska puts it up towards the end of the clock. It doesn't go. Fitzpatrick Has Io in the corner, and ball's going to go out of bounds. As Cami Io gets her first minutes for Manchester. Harrison. Aboud working against Williams. Trying to find some space, needs to pass out. Tweedy, 1 second towards the end of the clock. That will do it for the end of the first quarter. So a 25-19 lead for Manchester over the Riders. Leicester, having made 5 of 6 from the three-point line, they have certainly come out firing, and it doesn't feel like there's much in this at all.
No, there really doesn't. I mean, I think both teams are really going at it on defence. That last play then, you know, Danny Williams was a brick wall. You know, she really was. She was maintaining her posture, staying disciplined with it, moving her feet. And I think that's just a clear representation of both teams at the minute. They're both playing really disciplined on defence, really tough. And, you know, neither side is being allowed to really settle into a motion on offence.
If we just look at the stats here, Danny Williams with 11 points already in the quarter, 3 rebounds and 2 assists and 2 steals. I feel like that could be a half-time stat. And Lauren Thomas-Johnson adding in 6 points and 3 assists. And for the Riders, Katie Januszewska, 6 points, both on made 3-pointers. And Kaya Harrison with 5 points, a rebound and an assist. And we spoke about her before, but Katie Januszewska, just a really exciting young player, and a player that I always feel like should be older than she is because we've seen her for so many years.
Yeah, she came up through Charnwood, the Charnwood Academy, and, you know, I think, again, she's another great player and who demonstrates how important it is that these programs that we have in the country for young players. You know, we just had the WEABL finals on Wednesday, and it's just a great chance to kind of to really kind of demonstrate the talent that we have with our young players, and, you know, Katie's just a perfect example of that as well.
And she was out representing GB at Eurobasket at the pre-World Cup qualifiers last summer, and to bring that experience back out on court with the Riders, how much does that help the team?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know, and playing internationally, it helps so much because, you know, there's so many different styles of play, especially, you know, within Europe. So being able to kind of experience that and then bring it back to the home court is, I think it's really invaluable.
So back out on court for the second quarter. It will be Riders' ball. It's a 6-point Manchester lead. Harrison to Tweedy. Back to Harrison. Eastford Yates driving inside. Finds Aboud behind the three-point line. Great fake, steps through with a short jumper and gets the roll.
That was a great fake.
Dale to Shaw. Fairley. Round to Warren. Oh, great defense there from Eastford Yates, all over Warren. 4 seconds as Manchester have the ball intercepted. Eastford Yates leading the charge, and Harrison hangs in the air. Shot spins out, and ball is in the hands of Harrison. That felt like a while to call a jump ball, but it will go back with Manchester. And Harrison, for, you know, slightly undersized if she's going to go down in the post and grab some rebounds at 5'7", but that is the energy she brings to the team on both ends of the floor.
Yeah. Let's go. Just going all at it, you know, just.
Louder. 4-point Manchester lead. Dale has the ball around the outside. Shaw. Hands off to Warren. Warren pulls up for the long 2, it's off. Ball's tipped. Fairley comes up with it, goes to the basket, and draws the foul. So Nicolette Fairley heading to the line for 2 free throws. And Nicolette playing her 10th season. Spent last year with the Sheffield Hatters. Played for Durham previously, Team Northumbria. Again, another player with GB experience. And just a just a real legend of British basketball, isn't she?
Yeah, she really is.
And she hits the first free throw, which takes her to 399 made free throws in the league, which is a lot of made free throws.
It really is. 399?
399, yeah. She's the all-time leader in free throws made.
Nicola, you've let yourself down there.
Abood with the floater, no good. Ball's picked up by Eats for the ace. Driving all the way, and again, it's that left-handed lane, Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, Jess is just such a powerful guard anyway. You know, she really drives at the basket. She's so strong and she's so confident. There isn't any stopping her when she's driving down that lane.
Fairley finds Warren in the corner. Out to Dale. Using the screen from Shaw, pulls up for three, bounces off, Shaw with the rebound. Shaw passes out to Dale, 8 seconds. Ball's loose, picked up by Shaw, 4 seconds. Warren needs to put something up here, 2 seconds, off the rim. Another offensive board for Manchester. And a foul called there. So Manchester doing the work on the rebounds, and they're just not, well, they will be rewarded with a trip to the foul line, but not able to capitalise earlier on.
No, I feel like it's a little bit disjointed at the minute on their offence. You know, the kind of sloppy passes, the running into each other's spaces quite a bit. You know, and it's not for lack of communication, and we've just seen them flow better, and it just doesn't look like that today.
So Manchester, having not played last weekend, it was, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. Can that sometimes throw a bit of a spanner in the works when you've not had a game on court?
Possibly, but I think sometimes as well, you know, you just can come into these games and it just takes a minute, and, you know, you're going to have to kind of really kind of work together as a unit to kind of find that flow again.
And you're right, there's certainly a team that we have seen flow out on court throughout the season, so after those free throws, Thomas Johnson increases the lead to 5 for Manchester. Abood. Pass is picked off by Fairley. Fairley to Fitzpatrick underneath the basket. And a timeout called. Leicester Riders head coach Ben Stanley wants to talk things over with his team.
Yeah, that was a great defensive play there by Manchester. You know, we've talked about it before about them hedging on this screen and allowing, coming out to the guard, so you're doubling up the guard in a sense and allowing Elsie Tweedy to cut on her own. However, if you're communicating properly and you've got your back help line being active, you've got Nicolette Fairley right there running in, covering it and getting that steal, and that is what makes that defense successful. It takes everybody to do their job right, otherwise it does break down.
And you've got to know your role in that. So leading the way for Manchester is 11 points for Danny Williams, and Katie Januszewska leading the way for the Riders on 6 points. And we saw Leicester with those 5 made threes in the first quarter. Only 3 minutes or so gone in the second, but they don't look to have had those looks as much as that, as you were saying, with the pressure that Manchester's got.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of starting to tick now for Manchester. I think they're kind of working that screen better. So they're swallowing up that space on the perimeter, so are not allowing that three. And I think they just need to kind of stay consistent with that move now.
So teams are coming back out on court. And Kaya Harrison takes a seat. Brooke Biggett back in for the Riders. Riders ball as Manchester pick up full court here. Abood. Tweedy. Back to Abood. Eats for the 8, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Eats for the 8, racing down the baseline, finds Abood at the top of the arc. Shot won't go. But that's that look that the Riders had in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it was a really great drive from Jessica. She had a player at the top and a player in the corner. She had a pick of players to pass to.
As Fitzpatrick with a tough shot. Takes her up to 6 points personal. Bigger. Eats for the ace, race into the basket, scoops it in. She's so quick, is Jessie for the ace. And stolen away by Aboud, can't get the putback to go. But Manchester caught sleep in there. Dale's jumper spins out, Januszewska with the rebound. Warren picks off the ball and an unsportsmanlike is called on Aboud. So that will give Manchester shots and possession. That's Aboud's first foul. And for Manchester, we'll see Cami Io check in. Nicolette Fairley heads to the bench. So Annie Warren will take the foul shots. First one's good. She's shooting over 90% from the line this season. A player that was in Denmark last season. As Danny Williams checks back in and Annie Warren heads to the bench. Warren with 2 points, 3 assists and 2 rebounds. So Manchester ball after the unsportsmanlike foul. Dale to Williams. Thomas Johnson, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Thomas Johnson to the basket, no good. Rebounds picked up by Harrison, races down the court. She's so quick, eats for the 8. Kicks it out to Biggert. Her 3 will be short, but Harrison with the offensive board. And blocked by Dale, but Kaya Harrison is just working so hard on every single possession.
Yeah, she was really trying then. I think she knew Davida Dale was there, and I think she was trying her best to avoid that block.
She comes out of nowhere, does Davida Dale as well. Tweedy out to Eats for Yates in the corner. Rebound Manchester. Io, space for 3. Eats for Yates, weaves her way to the basket. She's met by Io. Fitzpatrick into Thomas Johnson. Dale manages to save it in. That was a tricky pass.
Yeah, it really was.
Williams, and shots no good. And Kaya Harrison there, she got a hand on that. She stood her ground and just made that shot for Williams really difficult.
Yeah.
As Januszewska will try another 3, and she'll hit that because that is what KJ does. Januszewska up to 9 points personal. Dale, 6-point Manchester lead. Io. Dale, 3, no good. Harrison to Eads for the ace. Biggert. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Eads for the ace. Looking for a way inside. It's knocked away. Tweedy comes up with it, fading away. Won't go as Danny Williams has it for Manchester. Pulls up from deep. A big rebound for Dale, who turns and can't finish. Eats for the ace. Pass is intercepted by Io. Williams with the behind-the-head pass out to Fitzpatrick. Doesn't go. Oh, that was so good. That was such a good pass. Williams intercepts the ball. Has Dale. She's going to take it all the way. And can we count that as the whole whole play so that we can see the behind the head pass again.
You want that on your highlight reel?
I do. So a timeout
I
called.
wouldn't even call it was a pass, it was more like a lob, a chuck.
A timeout called.
Right, Manchester, I think it's time we raise the noise levels in here.
It's been a bit of a frantic few minutes there after the last timeout that we had.
Yeah.
Both teams just really playing with pace.
Yeah, it feels also a little chaotic as well. I think, I think both teams are kind of chucking up some shots that normally they necessarily wouldn't make. I think they just need to kind of really allow themselves to settle into a bit of a flow here. I mean, I'm all for pushing the ball in transition and getting those fast breaks. But I feel like when we're running through the offense on both sides for Leicester and Manchester, they're not getting the looks that they want. So we're either ending up stagnant or then we're kind of just chucking up a shot from an angle that isn't really very comfortable. So I think both teams are playing great defense right now, and I don't think that's kind of something that can really be picked apart.
Yeah.
I think they're both really committed to that, and it looks great. But I just think both teams really need to work offensively now at kind of really getting into a rhythm with it. I mean, saying that, Katie's hitting up her threes, no problem. And I think Manchester needs to be careful of that because, you said before about, them sleeping on those perimeter players and having them wide open. And if Leicester are that team that if you sleep on certain players, they will creep up, that scoreboard will creep up.
And Leicester seem to have been very successful with driving the ball on the baseline and then kicking it out to that open shooter.
Yeah.
So back out on court, we've got just under 3 minutes to play in the half. Januszewska to Tweedy. Hands it off to Harrison, comes up against Shaw. Eads for Yates, thought about the shot, kicks it out. Harrison, three, won't go. Fairley. Shaw. Looks to pass back to Fairley. Pass is too strong into Fitzpatrick. She saves it, but Harrison will come up with it for the Riders. Bigger. Three is off. And Io with the rebound. Fairley, and again, Manchester just not able to keep it inside as Leicester pick up the loose ball. And that's a couple of possessions now, Hannah, that Manchester's just miscommunication.
Yeah.
Harrison draws the foul on the floor. That'll go against Fairley. So it will be Riders' ball from the sideline. It's Fairley's first. Just the first team foul on Manchester this quarter. Bigger has Harrison. Shot clock running down, 2 seconds. Januszewska sidesteps. And shot clock violation called. So Manchester ball from the baseline.
I don't think I've ever understood whether you carry on or you stop.
It seems different, doesn't it?
Honestly, sometimes it's like, yeah, just keep on playing. Both refs, they didn't do the shoulder tap. They just kind of pointed straight on, and then the other ref just, pass the ball to me, we'll reset. I'm like, someone make their mind up.
It's a 6-point Manchester lead. Fairley, Shaw, Io with space behind the line, bounces off the back of the rim. As Williams flings it over to Shaw. Shaw working against Tweedy. Williams gets the rebound and the ball's out. Gonna go with the Riders. And after a 25-19 first quarter, Manchester having scored 11 this quarter and the Riders 9, so both teams slowed down quite significantly.
With the scoring, yeah.
Januszewska. Harrison looking to pass out of it. Januszewska. Turns, fires, can't get the roll. Fitzpatrick into Shaw, it's intercepted. Tweedy takes it away. And a long pass over to Biggett, who runs round the key and then finds Tweedy, who'll put it in.
Oh, that was a really nice cut there. It was great communication, I think, between... I mean, I don't even think there was any communication. I think they just read each other. But it was great, you know, the little curl drive and then the follow cut. Textbook.
So Riders cut the lead down to 6. Williams swings it to Eote. Eote won't go. 1 second, and that's not going to go. So at half-time, it's a 36-30 lead for Manchester over the Riders. Both teams scoring just 11 points in that quarter. So, Hannah, is that more of a testament to the defence, or just the offence drying up a little bit?
I think you're right. I think the offence is drying up a little bit. I think for both ends. I think Manchester, we've said, you know, they've not got that rhythm that they normally have. The ball, I feel like, isn't moving as quick as it normally does around the perimeter. Yeah, it's sticking. It's a bit stagnant as well. You know, there's players running into each other's spaces. You know, and that's... Sometimes those things can happen. You know, you come into a game and, you know, a couple of players are a little bit off or something, might not be quite there mentally, and it can have an impact. But I think that's something that they're really going to have to work on right now at half-time, because I don't think they can carry on. I mean, yes, we've got this 6-point lead at the minute, but as I said before, you know, Leicester are that team you cannot sleep on it, and you cannot get complacent with them, because they are so tough on offense. They move the ball well. They've got, you know, they've been doing some great drives and some nice driving kicks, you know, and I think you'll allow Katie and Brooke there to, you know, get going on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Manchester, a team that averaged 85.7 points per game, 36 at half-time. Well, that's low for them. The Riders averaging 71.5. And Manchester generally well, the stat says, holds their opponents to 68.2 points per game, and Leicester holding their opponents to 70.9. So both teams' defence on show,
yeah,
as you said.
Yeah.
So leading the way for Manchester, it's Danny Williams with 13 points. So she had 11 at the end of the first quarter. So Leicester have done a good job of stopping her scoring.
Containing her, yeah.
And 6 rebounds as well for Danny Williams, along with 2 assists and 3 steals. Lauren Thomas-Johnson adding in 8 points, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. And Maura Fitzpatrick off the bench, shooting 80% for 8 points with a rebound and an assist. But you mentioned it just before, Hannah. Katie Janaszewska for the Leicester Riders, 9 points on 3 made threes. And Jessica Eadsworth-Yates, 7 points for her. And Kaya Harrison, 5 points, 4 rebounds, an assist and a steal. So 6 made threes for the Riders, just 1 for Manchester. And we spoke about it earlier, Hannah. Leicester look like they are a comfortable team shooting from 3, but Manchester are leaving that shot open. Yeah,
I mean, I think the problem is when it's the defensive rotation, so they're hedging out on these screens at the top. But the problem is when the cuts are then happening to the corners, to the far corners, there's no help rotation there available to be able to run out to the shot, because you've got your help backline covering the roller from the screen, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think, again, that's something they're going to have to adjust to. But I just think Leicester are doing a fantastic job at the minute. Their driving kick is brilliant. You know, you've got Jessica, you've got Brooke, both driving hard to basket, and then you've got their teammates following them with those curl cuts. You know, I like to call it clockwork movement. So you've got, as one drives one way, the other one will cut and follow, and it creates that pass and it creates that avenue. And I just think it's textbook what they're doing, and I think it's fantastic. You know, and I think they are working hard, and it's working well for them.
They definitely are, and as we said, you know, a close game like they are in this league. Each team on any given day can beat each team, can't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to take a quick break for half-time, and we'll be back with you in around 8 minutes' time. So stick around to the Super League on the Super League Basketball W YouTube channel, and we'll be back very shortly. Welcome back into the National Basketball Performance Centre here in Manchester as we get ready for the second half between Manchester Basketball and the Leicester Riders. It's just a 6-point lead for Manchester over Leicester as we head into the third quarter, 36-30. A relatively low-scoring game by both teams' standards, Hannah.
Yeah, I think, whether that's a testament to the defense that both teams are playing, I think, both teams are playing really, really tough defensively, and they are being, getting their hands in the passing lane, bumping cutters, that kind of thing. So I think that's where I'm going with it. I think it's the defense today. I think offensively, Manchester are very, very stagnant. They're a bit disjointed on offense. But, I think Leicester are coming up behind. I think they've got a chance here. They've been great offensively. They've been moving the ball well, driving and kicking fantastically well. And I think, Manchester needs to watch their backs.
Definitely. So let's see what adjustments both teams make coming out of half-time. Head coach Rhian Bailey leading Manchester Basketball, and it's Ben Stanley, head coach for the Riders. So it will be Riders ball. And Leicester have been playing with that short rotation today. Some players unavailable, and we can see over on the bench, Shea Sanchez, a name that people might be familiar with. If you saw her in Manchester playing for the Met Mystics a couple of seasons ago, she had her best game of the season against London last weekend, coming off the bench with 14 points, but not available today for the Riders. She's been a big part for them this season. But back on the floor, Januszewska. Harrison with 4 seconds. Out to Biggett, 3 seconds. Riders need to put something up here or the clock's going to run down. And it will be a shot clock violation. I think it was Annie Warren. It looked like she got a hand on the shot.
Just got a tip of that one.
To deflect it. So Manchester ball. Williams to Warren. Thomas Johnson. Shaw. Dale out to Thomas Johnson. High arc in 3. Too strong, but Williams grabs the rebound and puts it back in. And it was Danny Williams with those 11 first quarter points. Gets things started for Manchester in the third. Eadsworth Yates. Januszewska. Williams racing out to her there, not to give her any space for the shot. There's Biggett from behind the three-point line. Won't go. And Eadsworth Yates will be called for the foul. First team foul on the Riders. So Manchester look like they've upped the tempo a little bit here, coming out of the break.
Yeah, increase that intensity, and I think that's what they need to do to kind of keep this lead now.
Dale to Williams. Shaw inside, nice move from Shaw, too much on it. As Eadsworth Yates steps round the defender. Biggett trying to go inside. Pass is picked off, Shaw comes up with it. And Dale gonna go and pass out to Warren in the corner, who hits the 3. Davida Dale faked me out. I thought she was going all the way to the basket. And a good start for Manchester here in the third. Apologies to anyone that might be experiencing any technical issues with the stream. We'll get that sorted as soon as possible and keep you updated with the score. It is a 41-30 lead for Manchester over the Riders in the third quarter. 7:26 to play.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Thomas Johnson inside. No good, gets her own rebound.
That was a tough move there. You know, it was a great. She held her position in the post. She told Danny where she wanted that ball. Then, sorry, I think that was actually Annie Warren that passed the ball into her. Anyway, she pointed to the sky and was like, "Give it to me high. I'm going to take this." It was a great move.
Thomas Johnson gets rewarded with 2 shots at the line as Maura Fitzpatrick checks in for Hannah Shaw. Thomas Johnson's first is good. Second, can't get it to go. Januszewska with the rebound. Again, apologies if anyone is experiencing any issues with the picture on the feed. We're going to get that sorted out for you as soon as we can. You can still listen to me and Hannah though, so, you know, every cloud. Thomas Johnson on the floor, finds Fitzpatrick. Needs to get it over the halfway line. She will. Harrison pressuring the ball. As Dale sets it up for Manchester.
There's an offensive foul there, I think, on Maura.
So foul called on Fitzpatrick.
I think there was just a bit of pushing.
Number 10, Maura Fitzpatrick. That's her first foul.
Harrison finds Januszewska. Januszewska around the outside, pulls up for 3. Danny Williams dived in for the rebound there.
I think Annie Warren just had to help her get back down to earth.
As Warren's 3 splashes in, and Annie Warren starting the third quarter off on fire. And we'll have a timeout called 42-30 for Manchester over the Riders. And I'm sorry, I'm distracted. We've got a quiz question in the venue. Who do we think on the women's team can juggle? Maura, Davida, Hannah, or Danny?
I'm going to say Hannah.
I'm going to go Davida because she can do everything.
Yeah, that's probably true.
In the world. Oh, it's Danny.
Oh, sorry, Danny.
We underestimated you. I'm very sorry.
Apologies.
That's great. I want more of those, please. But it is a 45-30 lead for Manchester in the third quarter. 6:13 to play. I believe we've got our technical issues sorted again. Apologies to anybody that's experienced issues with the stream and the picture. But we're all good to go now in the third quarter. So Manchester coming out strong here in the third, Hannah. A 9-0 run to start things off.
Yeah, and they're looking more like what we've seen from Manchester. You know, they're pushing the ball in transition, getting those tips and those steals, and you know, flowing that ball, moving that ball around the perimeter really well. So I think this is just something that they've clearly adjusted to at half time. So it's nice to see now how you know, Leicester are going to react to that.
And Leicester back in action against Caledonia on April 5th. That'll be their next game as they're moving the ball quickly round here as Tweedy passes out to Harrison. Harrison swings it to Bigger. Bigger has the ball knocked away, will stay with the Riders. And you see there, Hannah, just before, like, Kaya Harrison looked like she had space to take the shot, but Davida Dell just has that incredible reach that she doesn't, even though it's like you've got a foot of space.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you've got a wingspan like Davida Dale, I think sometimes, you know,
it can be a bit deceptive, can't it? Your player can think, oh, I have got space to do that.
And I think it's also intimidating as well coming up against it.
Bigger against Warren. 1 second on the clock. I have to put something up. It will be after the buzzer and a shot clock violation. So good offense for Manchester coming out, good defense for Manchester coming out.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, they're moving the ball so much better. But I think, you know, like on defense, we've just said they're forcing the shot. You know, they're playing solid together as more of a unit as well defensively, and I think that's helping them right now.
Warren hands off to Williams. Dale. To Fitzpatrick, turns and fires, and no good. Harrison.
Manchester, keep making noise. Defense.
Tweedy back to Eadsforth-Yates. Going down the baseline, it's knocked away, and Jessica Eadsforth-Yates, she's so quick, and it's that baseline run that she does, isn't it?
Yeah, she's always been that quick. You know, I had the pleasure of coaching her under 14s, you know, with her originally being from Manchester, and I just think she's always had that confidence to kind of really drive aggressively. But yeah, that baseline drive, she loves it.
Tweedy. Rebound Williams. Thomas Johnson. Back to Williams. Thought about the shot. Swings it. Thomas Johnson. Driving inside. Can't get it to go. And Abood for the Riders. Going to the basket. Oh, that's a tough move. Shad Abood round a defender.
Such a reach as well there to get that ball in.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Williams, long two. And picked up by Fitzpatrick and put back in. She takes the contact, and that's going to put Maura Fitzpatrick at the line.
Substitution.
As Nicolette Fairley comes back into the game for Manchester. Annie Warren heads to the bench. Annie Warren with 8 points, 3 rebounds and 3 assists. And Maura Fitzpatrick at the foul line.
That'll be her second personal foul.
She's playing in Germany last season. Makes the move over to Manchester this year as she converts the 3-point play.
Let's go, Annie. Let's go. Let's go, Annie. Let's go.
Tweedy, back to Harrison. Abood. Harrison looks to go inside, runner. Tweedy picks up the ball. Good defense there from Manchester. And Dale has Warren. And Annie Warren has come out strong here in the third quarter, up to 10 points personal. Abood. Eadsforth-Yates. It's that baseline drive, passes over to Harrison. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Harrison to the basket. Count that. And Kaya Harrison. Such a strong move to the basket.
Yeah, that was tough. She held her composure and was able to finish on that. That was brilliant.
Harrison up to 7 points personal. She's been averaging at 15.4 so far this season. Leads the Riders in points per game and assists, where she has 4.9, which is good for 7th in the league.
Substitution for Manchester basketball.
And for Manchester, Cameo checks back in. Davida Dale to the bench.
Let's go.
Warren to Fitzpatrick. Warren, Fitzpatrick for 3. No good, Fairley can't get it to go. Abood looking for a way to the basket, comes up against Io. And last touch, Riders.
I think the tempo has definitely changed now. I think, Manchester are on a 14-5 run here in the third quarter. I think they've definitely kind of sharpened up their offense. They're moving the ball back. I keep saying this, I know, but they are moving the ball a lot better, because that's what we see. That's the Manchester team that we see.
It is,
you know what I mean? So I think, they've really, really stepped up their game now.
Warren with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Fairley, 3 seconds, time running down. Fairley out to Thomas Johnson, sidesteps. Won't go. Fairley with the offensive board.
Possession still with Manchester basketball.
Io, round to Warren. Thomas Johnson, 3 seconds. Thomas Johnson, and ball's out of bounds, so will stay Manchester ball. 1.5 seconds on the clock. as we'll see Brooke Biggett back in for the Riders. Kaya Harrison will head to the bench for a well-deserved rest for her. And a timeout called by Manchester, so head coach Rhiannon Bailey's going to draw something up here with 1.5 on the clock.
What are you going for, 3?
I'd go inside, I think.
Would you?
I think, yeah.
Draw the foul?
Yeah. Or a 3, actually, I don't know. I think, yeah, look inside. If it's not there, outside.
Yeah, I think on that. I think, well, I mean, you always have options anyway. You know, when you're drawing up a play like that, you always have, you know, the main option that you're looking for. And then you've got your, you know, your plan Bs, as it were.
And how, as a coach and as a player, how much practice does it take for you to go, okay, so this is option 1, this is option 2, to read the defence?
I mean, I think you're asking the wrong person. I think you should really be asking Rob Fairley of the Manchester Mystics, and he'll tell you that, you know, it takes a lot of practice. You know, quite a few seasons running the same end-line play. You know, I think once kind of players know their role, you know, and you know, it's not always just about as well like going to a certain spot and, you know, setting a certain screen. It's about moving and being able to react as well to what your defender might do in those situations.
Definitely. So we see Hannah Shaw in, so I'm going to go with it's going inside. That's my guess. Io gets the ball in. Shaw has to put something up, but too late, and it will be a shot clock violation.
Leicester were very smart there. They came out then in the zone, so they switched the defensive position, so then it made it harder for Manchester to run the play they've set up.
It's a 15-point Manchester lead, just over 2 minutes to play in the third. It's been a 14-5 run so far for Manchester this quarter. Januszewska. Sweetie inside. Januszewska running, and it will just go out of bounds. It's really unfortunate for the Riders. So it will be Manchester ball, and we'll see Danny Williams back into the game. Williams leading all scorers with 15 points. Also 10 rebounds. She's got a double-double, and 3 assists and 3 steals. Williams finds Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick in off the glass. And Maura Fitzpatrick up to 13 points. Bigger. Abood. Eats 58, finds a way, gets the foul called. And that's just, I know I keep talking about it, but she's so quick and she finds those ways, doesn't she, to split the defense.
Yeah, she's got a really quick first step as well with that drive.
Number 10.
So Eats 58 at the foul line. She's been averaging 10.5 points per game, 5.6 rebounds and 3.5 assists for the Riders. First spins out. Spent some time playing in Newcastle for the Eagles in the WBBL a couple of years ago. Playing in her third full season for the Riders. Gets a second to go. Fairley to Williams. Out to Fitzpatrick. 3 off the front of the rim. Eats 58 with the rebound. Januszewska to Abood. And, oh, nice cut and drive from Januszewska.
Oh, that was a great cut.
Williams pulls up. No good. Leicester making a run here. As Bigger kicks it out. Good ball movement from the Riders, and Januszewska from the corner cuts the lead down to 11.
Yeah, they were rewarded with that 3 then. I just think the way they really pushed the ball around the perimeter.
Really patient as well. They had some good looks, but went for the great look. Fitzpatrick looks to answer. Not that time. And ball is going to go with the Riders. So Manchester led by 18 earlier on in the third. Leicester having cut that to 11. They'll have the last possession here with 16.5 seconds in the quarter, so they've got a chance to cut this to single digits.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Bigot, 7 seconds. Williams read the pass, 3 seconds. Williams going to the basket, puts it in as time will expire in the third. Danny Williams with a big steal, just increases the lead for Manchester up to 13 as we end the third quarter.
That is Danny Williams now on a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds.
And how many steals has she got? It feels like she's got
three steals, 4 assists.
Plus that last one.
Yeah.
She's been fantastic, as she always is. 17 points, leads all scorers. But that last possession, Hannah, well, the second to last possession for Leicester with that ball movement that we spoke about, finding Januszewska in the corner, that's something that has worked well for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. You know, I think they just need to keep moving this ball, and you know, I think in the first half Manchester's defensive rotation was a little bit slow to react, and I think that's something that, you know, they really need to take advantage of that, because it is so hard and difficult to maintain consistently for 40 minutes. So I think it's something that, you know, Leicester really needs to kind of look to work and keep going with.
As Kyle Carey from the Manchester men's team tries a half-court shot, he doesn't get that to go.
He's pretty well ahead.
But Leicester going on a nice little run there for the last few minutes.
Yeah, they really picked it up, you know.
After a slow-scoring second quarter for Manchester, 18 points for them in the third to Leicester's 11. As you said, they really picked it up coming out of half-time. I wonder what Coach Rhian Bailey said to them.
I don't think I actually want to know.
So one more quarter to go. It's a 54-41 Manchester lead over the Riders. Manchester head to Durham next weekend before they're back at home against Oaklands on Saturday the 19th of April. You can come down to support the team at the National Basketball Performance Centre. That will be their last home game of the regular season. But back out on court, Dale has Thomas Johnson, 5 seconds. Thomas Johnson going to the basket, draws the foul. So Lauren Thomas Johnson goes back to the foul line. And Thomas Johnson, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Playing in her 7th season, spent 6 with Manchester, 1 with the Sheffield Hatters. First free throw's good. And one of the players on this Manchester squad, Hannah, that, you know, alongside Nicolette Fairley, Hannah Shaw, Georgia Anderson, have just played together throughout the years at different levels.
Yeah. You know, there's just that kind of chemistry amongst those players as well, from, you know, from working together, playing together at an early age.
Edith Yates. Januszewska. Bigot with 4 seconds on the clock. Tweedy tries to save the ball. Thomas Johnson finds it, but Tweedy has to put something up. It will not count, and it'll be after the buzzer. And defensively again, Manchester forcing the 24-second violation.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's a great way to really tire a team out as well, especially with Leicester only having the short rotation. You know, you can drag out an offense to the full 24. You know, it really, really tires you out.
Thomas Johnson into Williams. Williams fading away. That's a tough move. Harrison. Januszewska against Dale, back to Harrison. Harrison looking to go inside, hangs in the air, won't go, picked up by Warren. Fitzpatrick finds a space, drives the lane, but good defense there from Tweedy. Ball's going to stay with Manchester, but Tweedy doing a really good job to stand her ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Manchester, let's make some more noise.
Staying disciplined.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Williams pulls up, hits. Danny Williams up to 21 points personal. Leicester looking for an answer here. Harrison. Janishevska, 5 seconds. Janishevska spins. Oh, what a finish from Janishevska. Dale. Harrison has it for the Riders. Out to Janishevska. Harrison. Bigot from behind the three-point line. Tweedy grabs the offensive rebound and puts it back in.
Oh, that was tough. You know, she was doubled there by Lauren Thomas-Johnson and Nandy Warren and still managed to push through that. That was tough.
Let's go, energy.
Cuts the lead down to 15. Williams, step back three. Nothing but net. And Danny Williams, she seems like a player sometimes she just turns it up a notch, doesn't she?
She really does. She really knows how when to step it up.
24 for Williams. Eats 58 for three. No good. Williams, three. In and out. Bigot has it for Leicester. And comes up against Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure how that ball went into the hands of Janishevska. The three doesn't hit. And Dale leads the charge for Manchester. Warren. To the cutting Fitzpatrick. And more of Fitzpatrick with a finish at the basket. And
that was fantastic patience there. You know, you've got Davida pushing the ball up, Annie Warren looking to attack and then waiting patiently, and more of Fitzpatrick with that beautiful low cut.
And also really good of Fitzpatrick as well, so trailing the ball on the break.
Yeah. You know, you sometimes, you know, when you were a young player coming up and you'd be waiting at the other end for your teammate to score and your coach would be screaming at you to follow. That's why.
So Maura Fitzpatrick with 15 points ties her season high that she had in her opening game against the London Lions in October. We mentioned it before, but a player coming back from injury, great to see her just rejuvenated and coming off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just being, you know, a real kind of playmaker in this squad today. You know, she's had some great cuts. She's moved the ball really well. And I think, you know, she's really kind of injected that energy that Manchester have needed today.
And for Leicester, a bit of a tough stretch there in the fourth. Janishevska up to 16 points, though, leading the way, along with 3 rebounds. Kaya Harrison and Jessica Eads-Smith on 8 points apiece. But Janishevska, and we've seen Tweedy inside. She's got some good looks, but it's maybe not been able to finish with the Manchester defense around the basket.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the last look she had, she was doubled and it went in. I think, you know, sometimes it can just. It's all about your angles as well, I think, sometimes.
And sometimes when you make a basket like that, a tough shot over 2 defenders, it gives you that confidence as well, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Janishevska fouled by Io. It's going to put Katie Janishevska at the foul line.
Manchester basketball.
That's the first on Io. Janishevska with 13.1 points per game so far this season and 4.1 rebounds. She's surpassed that Up to 17 now after that first free throw. He's 5th in three-point percentage in the league, which shouldn't surprise anybody that's ever watched her play anywhere.
Shooting 57% today.
More energy.
Is she near a 50-40-90?
Let's go.
Is she what, sorry?
Is she near a 50-40-90?
She is. Ooh.
Choke shot made by Anastasia Warren.
Januszewska. Intercepted by Fitzpatrick. Warren going to the basket. No good defense there from Januszewska, who's able to get a hand on it. As Harrison tries to get inside, comes up against Fitzpatrick. That would be a foul on the floor. And again, more of Fitzpatrick. We've spoken about her offense, but defensively as well. She's been, again, making a stance.
Yeah, she absolutely has. She's been, you know, she's a bit of a brick wall today. She's just moving her feet really well and getting in front of the player and standing her ground.
Let's go.
Warren. Hands off to Williams. And an offensive foul called.
Offensive foul, Manchester basketball, number 4.
And that'll be on Eote. Oh, sorry, that's on Warren, Annie Warren.
Defense.
Second,
Defense.
first foul for Warren. Harrison. Bigger. Pulls up for 3. And rebound tipped. Oh, that's picked up by Williams. Dale goes all the way to the basket. It's short. And Harrison hangs in the air and puts it in. And Kaya Harrison just electric down the floor.
Let's go, buddy.
Dale.
Let's go.
Shot spins out. Januszewska rebounds it. Edith Yates stepping through and won't go. And passes out of bounds. Will go with the Riders.
Manchester basketball substitution.
So substitution for Manchester. Nicolette Fairley back in, and Davida Dale will go to the bench.
Okay, Manchester, let's keep going. Defense. Defense.
Tweedy to Harrison. Harrison on the baseline.
Rebound, Danny Williams.
Meets the Manchester defense as Danny Williams at the other end scoops it over to Eote. Eote stepping through to the basket.
I really wondered what Danny was doing with that pass then. I had no idea. But what a great move from Eote.
I think Danny Williams has got eyes in the back of her head.
Yeah, I really do. I think she'd be a great bowls player as well.
Oh, yeah. Let's get her to try it.
I really do.
She can juggle, so
Yeah.
she can try that
There
as
you
well.
go.
Harrison steps back for the long 2 and nets it. 12 points for Kaya Harrison.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Fairley.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Eote guarded by Januszewska. Eote up and under. Picked up by the Riders.
Manchester, keep the
Long
energy.
pass over from Januszewska. Bigger hands it off to Harrison. Takes her time and puts it in.
2 points for number 4, Kaya Harrison. Louder.
Eote finds Williams.
Let's go. Let's
Fitzpatrick for 3. Drains it. And more of Fitzpatrick with a season high 18 points. Takes Manchester up to 72. And fouls called. That'll go against Manchester. So Riders ball from the end line. As a substitution for Manchester, we'll see Hannah Shaw and Lauren Thomas-Johnson back in. Maura Fitzpatrick heads to the bench with those 18 points. And Danny Williams will take a seat. Eachford the Yates looks to get it in.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Fairley off the screen from Thomas Johnson. Warren back to Fairley. Warren, 5 seconds, 3 seconds. Warren going to the basket. Too short. As Eatsford the Eights has the running Januszewska, who will put it in and takes her up to 20 points. And a substitution for Manchester Basketball. We'll see Georgia Anderson into the game for the first time. Anderson, having missed a few games with injury, gets a standing ovation from the bench and the crowd cheering her on. How good is that to see her come back in?
It really is.
An absolute legend of Manchester basketball, of British basketball. We could talk for ages, but we've got a game to get to.
Let's go.
Thomas Johnson, hands off to Anderson. Anderson, Eotes, Thomas Johnson. Thomas Johnson inside, fouls called against the Riders.
Foul, number 10 for Leicester Riders.
So Manchester have the ball.
Baseline ball for Manchester Basketball. Let's go, man.
Shaw into Thomas Johnson.
Let's go.
Anderson.
Let's go.
Thomas Johnson. Shaw, long two. It's short, goes with the Riders, and we also see Charlie Woodman into the game for the Leicester Riders for the first time.
Just under a minute left to play. The fourth quarter. Manchester, let's finish this game loud.
Last minute of the fourth. Harrison to Januszewska. Eats for the ace in the corner. Shot bounces off, picked up by Fairley. Fairley racing baseline. It will be a step out of bounds.
Baseline ball for Leicester Riders.
So Riders have possession. Manchester 72-55, last 30 seconds of the fourth. Harrison going against Fairley, hangs in the air and puts it in. She is so good at that.
I mean, she took that contact so well. Kept her composure. Really focused on that shot.
Let's go.
Eo to Shaw. Shaw spinning, fading away. That's good. 7 seconds. Riders ball. Harrison kicks it out to Januszewska. Eats for the 8. Stepping through, and we've got a whistle with 0.3 seconds on the clock. And that goes against Manchester. That's against Lauren Thomas-Johnson. So Riders will have the ball. 0.3. You've got to just lob it here, haven't you?
Yeah, really do.
Januszewska doesn't have time to put something up, and that will do it for the fourth quarter. So a 74-57 win for Manchester over the Leicester Riders. Manchester getting back to winning ways after that loss against Caledonia a couple of weekends ago. They were led by Danny Williams, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists and 4 steals. Maura Fitzpatrick with a season-high 18 points. Shooting 100% from 2. and had a couple of rebounds and an assist to go along with that. Lauren Thomas-Johnson adding in 11 points, 8 rebounds and 4 assists. Annie Warren, 12 points, 6 rebounds and 4 assists. I feel like I'm just reading everybody's stats there because they're jumping out of me. For the Leicester Riders, leading the way, Katie Januszewska, 20 points personal, 4 made threes, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Kaya Harrison, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And Elise Tweedy, 4 points, 10 rebounds and 3 assists. So a tough loss for the Riders, Hannah, but we knew they were short-handed coming into this, but they put up a real fight and they showed exactly why they are such a dangerous team to go up against.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their defense today was solid. They really made Manchester work for every single point, and I think they should, the coach should really be happy with that. I just think, there's a couple of tweaks that maybe needs to be made offensively. I mean, they moved the ball really well. I just think a few of the shot selections maybe, and a few of the passes need tightening up. But no, they really did themselves proud today. Worked really hard, especially with that short roster.
And Katie Januszewska, 20 points for her. Kaya Harrison has that absolutely fantastic hang in the air and finish at the rim. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of those two this season. But Elise Tweedy as well, she did a fantastic job on the boards, 10 rebounds and 28 points in the paint for the team. But as you said, a short-handed team, but did a really good job with it.
Yeah, definitely.
And for Manchester, Danny Williams, the team's leading scorer, as she always is, 24 points, putting on just another fantastic performance.
Yeah, really did. I mean, she was just so composed throughout of it. And like you said at one point, she knew at what point to step up. She knew that it was kind of needed, that she needed to knock some points down, and she delivered.
So for Manchester, they will go again next weekend. They are away to the Durham Platinates on April the 5th. And then they'll be at home against the Oaklands Wolves on Saturday, the 19th of April at 2 o'clock. And that will be the Manchester's last home game of the regular season. So come on down to the National Basketball Performance Centre. Grab your tickets. It's always a great atmosphere. Great to watch the team out on court and support them as they look towards the playoffs. And for the Riders, they are playing at home against the Caledonia Gladiators on April the 5th at 6 o'clock. Now, Hannah, the Caledonia Gladiators, along with the Newcastle Eagles, both teams on a bit of a surge up the standings, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
And Caledonia currently in 5th place, so Manchester in 4th. At the moment, Newcastle are playing today. It's far too complicated for us to work out until after the weekend. But there's going to be a fight, isn't there, I think, between that 3rd, 4th and 5th spot.
Yeah, there's a battle. Yeah, there's a battle in that position. And I think as well, those positions can be quite precarious as well, given the fact that, for playoff standing, wanting home fixtures as well. So I think sometimes, those are the battlegrounds to really look at.
Yep, certainly. So Manchester will only have 3 games left after today. They'll play Durham, then at home against Oakland, and the final game of the season against the Newcastle Eagles. So the final score from here in Manchester Basketball 74 to the Leicester Riders 57. From myself, Kat Bullock, and from Hannah Alty, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.